All right, guys, we are live, and we got Omar Figueroa Jr. here today. Thank you so much, Omar, making the time. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. It's going great.
No problem. And it's been a minute since you fought, so I got a highlight clip that I want to show people before we start asking questions, just to remind them if they're a new boxing fan within the last 12 months or so, who Omar Figueroa is all about. So let me go ahead and play that clip. There we go. Omar, you have never been in a boring fight. Always been entertaining, brother.
Thank you.
So the first question I want to ask you is, I'm always curious boxers' journeys and how to get into the sport. So how did you get into boxing?
Well, I was kind of forced into it. My dad, you know, grew up wanting to be a boxer himself. He unfortunately didn't have the attention from his parents, so he had the opportunity with me and put me in boxing as soon as he could, and you know, that's the rest is history.
Absolutely. And then I do recall hearing that, you had 40 fights in the amateurs, but you didn't really care for the amateurs. What about in particular kind of set you off from the amateurs and wanting to turn pro so quickly?
Well, I had around 40 to 60 fights, I think, here in the United States. But we lived so close to the border that, I'd cross over to Mexico, and over there I had close to 300 fights.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I had a really extensive amateur background before I went pro. I even have two pro fights that I fought in Mexico that for some reason aren't on my record. So so yeah, no, there's a lot more to me than people know.
I hear you. No, I did not know about those 300 fights. So that's definitely impressive, brother. And I want to talk to you about your upcoming main event. So August 20th, it's going to be you against Adrien Broner. What can fans expect to see from you in that fight?
Honestly, I don't even know. I just know that I've never been better mentally, physically, spiritually, but especially mentally. This past year I went through hell, getting my mentals right. I finally looked into my mental health and I got diagnosed with a whole slew of things, ADHD, PTSD, OCD, anxiety, depression, bipolar, like everything kind of piled up on me. And I know I haven't looked good my last couple fights, and I'm not saying I blame it solely on the whole mental health or whatever. I'm just saying that for those that know, for those that have struggled with mental health, for those that have been down that journey, they know how hard it can be. And it was something that I guess kind of blindsided me. And but that's the thing, you know. This whole past year has been just me working on myself, working on my mind, getting my ducks in order. And so I feel I don't know what to expect on in this fight, except for I've never been better. I've never felt better. I've never been happier. I've never, for the first time, I enjoy what I'm doing. For the first time in my 27 years of boxing, I can say that I love what I do and I'm enjoying what I do. So I'm excited because I love fighting. I've always loved fighting, but I mean, I'm to the extent that I'm looking forward to this fight. it I've never I've never wanted to fight so badly, to enjoy
Yeah.
it, you know? So that's why I'm looking forward to this fight and I can't wait. I mean, I don't know what version of myself is going to appear that night. I just know that we are prepared for anything and everything, and I have never been better.
And great to hear that. I know it's definitely always tough, especially growing up with a Mexican family, to talk about mental health. I know firsthand about that. Um, I got a question from a viewer here. So he wants to know how great it is to fight for a WBC Silver title versus Broner next week.
I mean, it's like when you're getting your favorite meal and you get to add a little bit of lime or lemon on it, like it's amazing already. But you get to add a little bit of salsa, you get to add a little bit of lime, like it just makes it that much better. So, you know, I I didn't even know that I was fighting for the WBC or whatever, until I got hit with the whole, hey, you need to weigh in at this much before, and I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, because of the WBC, and I'm like, wait, but what is that? Why do they care? And
Mhm.
then they said, well, you're fighting for a little belt, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, like I said, adding salt, adding lime, adding salsa to the meal that already, you know, that I'm already looking forward to.
Yeah, it makes it that much better. And I saw a picture on your IG back from 2018 with you and Broner side by side. So I'm curious, has that fight always kind of been on the cards for you and an option, or is this something that just presented to you recently?
No, I mean it's a fight that we have been looking forward to, or we have been looking for, you know, for the longest time. But as we both know, I guess, whether he likes to admit it or not, we both struggle with mental health, both Adrian and I. So I guess it's finally happening. We both kind of strayed from our paths a little bit, but the time is here. We have a week left, and we finally get to step in the ring together and slug it out.
Looking forward to seeing it. And I know this fight's going to be 140 pounds. Are you planning to stick around this weight moving forward? Or will you go back to welterweight?
No, I mean I never meant to be at welterweight. The only reason I went up to welterweight is because of my injuries. So my last few fights, I hadn't been able to spar. I hadn't been able to do mitts. I'd barely been able to hit the bag. You know, so that obviously those are things that affect the quality of fighter that I am. Especially with the weight, it's hard to make weight as it is, but it's even harder when you can't train properly. So that's the reason why I decided to give myself some slack and move up to 147 so that I wouldn't struggle so much with the weight.
All right, perfect. And then I saw as well that you used to basically train out of California with Joel Diaz, but family life ultimately playing the decision to go back to Texas and train with your dad. How is it like being in California? And is there certain things you miss about it?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love California. I love being the level of fighters that we had over there. Joel had world class fighters all the time, so the sparring was amazing. And it's like he would tell me, he's like, "Oh, more, I have whenever I would come back home, and it was almost time to go training. He's like, "Oh, Omar, I have a buffet here ready for you," and so that was something I always look forward to, all the great sparring. But I mean, being here in San Antonio, it, it's been amazing as well. I mean, I'm close to home. San Antonio is a great boxing city as well. We have Houston nearby, Dallas nearby. So the level of fighters and sparring and everything that hasn't changed. It's just mentally and physically, it's been a hell of a lot better being close to home.
Uh, Definitely. And I know for a fighter like you, they often say like boxing is one of the loneliest sports, but I've seen like your family's always there with you in the gym, at your fights. How big has it been to have their support system? And then my second question is, how is it to be a girl dad? Because I'm a dad of two girls, so I want to get your perspective on being a girl dad.
Well, having my family here is, you have your rock, you have your foundation, and my family's always been there. So So yeah, I mean, it just gives me that much more confidence to go in there and perform, because I'm used to having my family with me. And as far as being a girl dad, honestly, I mean it's amazing. It's amazing because the way that I mean, I'm not saying that boys and girls can't love the same, right? Obviously,
Right.
but I just feel like the expectations and just the little things that they do, it's just so much different. So I love being a girl dad. I love being a dad in general, but a girl dad, it's they're all daddy's girls. That's
Yeah.
what's amazing about it, and it just makes things that much sweeter.
No, I hear you. I think one of my highlights is coming home from work and then getting the girls running, "Daddy, daddy!" Nothing,
Exactly.
nothing beats that feeling. So I know we're running out of time, so just got a few more questions to ask you before we kind of let you go. Um, now that we know you're going to stay at the 140-pound division, what are your thoughts on the current champions and contenders for that division?
I don't know who's at 140 pounds, and it
Right?
doesn't
Let's
matter.
get a Ryan Garcia fight, man.
Whoever, honestly, the
Gotta
way
go.
I'm feeling right now, and the way my body feels, my mind feels, everything, like I've never cared who I step in the ring with. I went up to 147, and the first guy I cared to fight, is was Ugas or whatever. It's like I don't care who I get in the ring with. As long as I get to punch him in the face, that's good enough for me.
Yep, Texas tough,
Yeah.
man.
All we gotta
Hey,
know is
so
Omar's here now. Go ahead, David.
right. So Omar, another question. I have a question for you. How do you feel about how Danny came out actually expressing the way how he's struggling with his issues as well? Does that help and motivate you on overcoming? And like you're saying, motivates you on how you're feeling much better now to how you were feeling in the past?
Well, yeah, I mean, the I was never afraid to speak up on my mental health or how I was feeling or whatever, especially in this Mexican culture that we all know. It's not really talked about, or it's something that's kind of pushed to the side just because we're men and we're supposed to be tough and this and that. But I'm glad that Danny and Ryan and lots of other people, they're speaking out, especially if you're in a position like we are, if you're an athlete like we are, you know, people see us and they think that because we're boxers, we have to be tough and we have to be superhuman. And I mean, I'm not denying that. I mean, to go up and do what we do, it does take some sort of superhuman strength, because it's not every day that a man is willing to step in the ring with another man and risk their lives, or at least their livelihoods, or at least their brains. So it's something that
Absolutely.
really takes a toll, and it's not easy to do. Even us that have been doing it for a long time, we still get nervous. We still not struggle. At least not me. We don't struggle with boxing or fighting or whatever. I love this shit. So I don't struggle at all. It's what we love to do, but it's battling ourselves to get up in the ring and do what we love to do that sometimes become the toughest battle, and I know it from firsthand experience. But no, it's great. It's great that at least myself, I'm trying to normalize being human. I'm trying to normalize having feelings and having bad days, and feeling like not wanting to do anything. I mean, everyone experiences those days where they don't want to go to work. And it's like, shit, when we feel that way, we still have to get in the ring and spar and train and diet, and so like it's a little bit harder, I feel. But it's just, I'm glad that we're speaking out and we're normalizing the struggle, because that's essentially what it is. It's a struggle that we go through every day, and it's normal to feel this way. It's normal to power through, and I would just hope to enlighten people and to show that it can be done. You just gotta stick to it.
Great.
Yep.
And then the last question I have for you, Omar, I'm sure you're a boxing fan like us. Want to kind of pitch a rumor fight and
I'm
get your
not
take.
actually.
You don't watch boxing, Omar?
No. I've been doing this for 27 years, man. I started when I was 6 years old.
All right, so you're probably
This has consumed my life for 27 years now. So yeah, whenever I don't have to be involved with boxing, I try to stay as far away from it as possible.
All right. Well, and I won't ask you to speculate on potential rule matchups. We'll just kind of let those be.
Yeah, because I honestly I feel bad because people assume that I know everything about boxing and that I keep up with it and all that. But when they ask me questions, like they ask me about fighters in my own division, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't even know who that is. So I
Omar.
want to save you. I want to save you the trouble.
No
Yeah,
worries.
so-
That's one, dude.
What is Omar Figueroa Jr. into, and what is he doing when he's not that close to boxing? What are like your hobbies, your likes, and your favorite sports besides boxing?
Well, I don't really watch much TV. Grew up poor as heck, so TV wasn't really, something that we grew up doing. Plus, I was always in sports. I was always in some sort of practice or something. Um, but I'm really into the kitchen. I love cooking, so I'm hoping that once boxing subsides a little bit and I get to focus on things that I want to do, because I've never had time for myself or to focus on the things that I want to do is something that I think cooking is something, or working in the kitchen is something that I really want to do. So food, cooking, culinary arts, I love all that stuff. So most of my time is dedicated to watching food videos, new food ideas, recipes, and just trying to be better in the kitchen.
Awesome.
All right.
Omar, we'll let you get to that food. Before we wrap up, anything you want to say to the viewers and about your fight on August 20th?
Well, yeah, first off, I want to thank everyone that still supports me. I want to thank those that have stayed by my side. I know the last few years haven't been the best for me, but life comes at you fast. And to those that are struggling, to those that feel like they're in a bad place or that life sucks or whatever, like the best thing you can do is talk to somebody, seek help. If we all go through crap, we all feel bad, we all suffer with these things. So don't feel any less, or don't feel ashamed, or don't be scared. It Being honest and open is the best thing I've done for myself, and I wish you all do the same.
Great closing
So,
comments. Omar, again, thank you so much for jumping on. Best of luck in your fight.
Thank you.
Soon.
Appreciate
Yeah.
you. Yes, sir.
And all those
All
who
right,
don't
take care.
already, just go follow Omar Figueroa and wait for his next fight. It's gonna give you a good matchup. Great fireworks coming from both these guys.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for your time, Omar. Wish you the best, brother.
Thank you.
All right,
Have a
take
good
care,
rest
Omar.
of your day.
You too.
All right,
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right,
Man.
David. Great interview. We'll wrap up. Thank you everyone for joining us. We're hopping off too. Sorry we couldn't get through all the questions. He was tight on time, but maybe we'll have him on next time with more time. Hey, everybody.
Guys, just remember, tomorrow morning, tune in, 10 a.m. And all my Spanish-speaking folks, 10 de la mañana, hora del Pacífico. Vamos a entrevistar a un gran peleador que se llama Leo Di Stefano. Es mitad alemán, mitad hispano, mexicano. Y mañana nos vemos, primero Dios, 10 de la mañana.
All right, shout out to the homie Skywalker. We're out. Peace.
Skywalker and the homie Mac Photo.
K-Rod as well. Thank you guys for coming in. Furrow, everyone that commented. Thank you so much.
All
Catch
right,
you
man.
later. Peace.
See ya.